Science has shaped our lives in ways most of us never even notice. But behind every invention, every discovery, there's a story you've never heard. What if I told you some of the biggest breakthroughs happened by accident? Stay with me, because this is not the science you learned in school. This is the science that changed the world forever. Earth as we know it, steady and predictable, is built on a foundation so immense and subtle we hardly notice it. The unceasing spin of our planet, turning from west to east. At the equator, that rotation clocks in at a mind-bending 1,670 kilometers per hour, or about 1,040 miles per hour. For billions of years, life has evolved in step with this motion. But imagine the unthinkable. If, in an instant, Earth's rotation reversed direction, the result? Pure chaos. The abrupt halt and reversal would unleash unimaginable forces. Every single object on the planet, oceans, atmosphere, land, even buildings, carries forward momentum, all hurtling eastward. Suddenly, that energy would be forced to switch directions. Oceans, with their vast and restless mass, would respond first and loudest. Colossal tsunamis would erupt from coastlines across the globe, dwarfing any storm surge humanity has ever witnessed. Water would careen across continents, overwhelming cities, drowning infrastructure, and eroding shorelines in minutes. But the devastation wouldn't stop at the water's edge. The very air around us, previously content to glide along its familiar paths, would whip into extreme, unpredictable fury. Hurricane-force winds would batter landscapes, bringing down trees, toppling buildings, and scattering debris for hundreds of miles. Streets once calm would become torrents, and cities would struggle for shelter against the atmospheric onslaught. Tectonic plates, those massive slabs underpinning continents, could be jostled too. The abrupt change in rotational inertia might trigger powerful earthquakes as stresses build and release deep below the surface. Mountains could tremble, and fault lines could rupture, amplifying the disaster. Human technology, built for reliable predictability, would buckle. Airplanes mid-flight would find their navigation useless, thrown wildly off course by the winds and forces around them. Rockets and satellites, which rely on precise understanding of Earth's motion, would require urgent recalibration. Until then, navigation and global communication systems like GPS would be knocked completely offline. The chaos would not be limited to the physical world. Earth's atmosphere, a fragile envelope of gases retained in a delicate balance, would go berserk. Everything built on the assumption of an eastward spin, predictable winds, regular jet streams, reliable trade winds, would flip. The interplay between sun, air, and water gives rise to our climate, so with a sudden reversal, weather patterns across the globe would veer into madness. Storms would rage where calm was expected. Regions known for gentle seasons could see violent extremes. Weather forecasters would be reduced to guesswork, while tornadoes, monsoons, and blizzards appeared in unfamiliar places, causing mayhem for those unprepared. As Earth settled into its new direction, weather would begin to form new patterns, just as extreme, but different. Our planet's weather systems, from the persistent trade winds to the high-altitude jet streams, would suddenly flow backward. The incredible Gulf Stream, which carries warm water from the tropics across the Atlantic, keeping Europe temperate, would reverse. Instead of warming up the British Isles and Scandinavia, frigid Atlantic currents would flow south. Europe would lose its mild climate, while North Africa and the Middle East would bake beneath hotter, more humid air. The world's deserts could see new storms and rainfall, potentially blooming into lush grasslands. Meanwhile, areas like South America's rainforests or Australia's coasts could find themselves drying out or flooding in unpredictable cycles. This climatic upheaval wouldn't drag on for centuries. Given the immense dynamic feedbacks in the ocean and atmosphere, many regions would experience radical temperature and precipitation changes within weeks or months. Coastal communities might face cold snaps, while far inland cities suffer from persistent droughts or flooding. The very concept of a global climate map would need to be torn up and redrawn overnight. Then we reach the most disorienting consequence, the flip of day and night itself. For millennia, humans have risen to greet the sun as it climbs in the east and tracks westward. measuring time and meaning by this eternal dance. Suddenly, the sun would rise in the west and set in the east. Every familiar landmark, sunrise over the mountains, sunset beyond the sea, would reverse. Daily life would be upended. Ancient calendars, religious rituals, and even the language of time would no longer fit this new world. The sun rises in the east would become an outdated myth. For millions, witnessing the sunset over the ocean before midday would feel deeply unsettling. It might take generations for our collective psyche to adjust, forging new stories and customs around these backward patterns. Beneath the surface, our planet's molten iron core, which generates the magnetic field shielding us from harsh cosmic radiation, might not escape unscathed. While Earth's magnetic field isn't solely caused by surface rotation, any turmoil unleashed by a reversal could propagate downwards, disturbing the churning currents of liquid metal in the core. If the magnetic field weakened or collapsed, the consequences would be severe. We'd lose our natural shield from solar and cosmic rays. Every day, electronics would be at risk, satellites fried by charged particles, power grids failing beneath geomagnetic storms, even simple devices disrupted. For living things, especially at high altitudes or latitudes, cancer risks would soar as more radiation bombarded the surface. Though Earth might look the same from space, the environmental risks would multiply. Wildlife, the silent partners in Earth's ecosystem, depend on magnetic cues to survive. Birds that cross hemispheres, turtles that return to the beaches of their birth, insects that traverse continents, all would lose their way. If the magnetic poles weaken, many animals would wander aimlessly, unable to complete migrations on which entire populations and food chains depend. Ocean currents rearranged in reverse would starve some regions of the nutrients upwelling from below, reshuffling marine life and fish stocks. This could trigger mass extinctions and threaten the livelihoods of billions who rely on fishing and agriculture. Human societies would not be spared. Regions that once relied on predictable rainfall might face drought, while others might be flooded or frozen by unfamiliar weather. Crops would fail in some places and thrive in others, redrawing the map of food security and global trade. Economies would rise or collapse almost overnight, depending on their position in this new world order. Our very sense of time and memory would be challenged. Human bodies are tuned to diurnal rhythms, circadian cycles governing sleep, health, and mood. With sunrises and sunsets reversed, sleep disorders and stress would spike, while traditions rooted in celestial observation would dissolve. Sundials would point the wrong way. Solar panels might need reorienting. Calendars based on ancient skies would become obsolete. In the end, could Earth really spin backward? The answer is almost certainly not. The forces to rewrite the planet's rotation are far beyond natural or human capability. But thinking about such an event teaches us something profound. Our world's balance, from the direction of the winds to the migration of animals, hangs on subtle, interconnected threads. The spin of the Earth is more than just a fact of physics. It is the heartbeat of life itself. Every detail, every pattern, every dawn and dusk relies on this invisible motion, keeping everything in motion, every day, for everyone. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more mind-blowing facts. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss an upload. Got a topic you'd like us to cover next? Drop it in the comments below. See you in the next one.